I'm going to drop a couple bombs on the FD channel right now.
It's very flattering that people are calling us the West Coast Nationals. I don't think we're there yet.
Who are you rolling with?
I am rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
We are rolling with FD.
I feel like I see less patience in the hobby today. And I want to get your thoughts on it. When you hear of the large dollar amounts now around PMGs, what do you think?
What it takes for someone to spend that much money on any card.
Fanatics did something tonight I had never heard about. They have a lottery.
We got you on the line.
Oh my goodness, we're both on the line.
Hey, Nick, you got to let me know who you're rolling with.
I'm rolling with FD.
Hey, Tony and Oz, who you rolling with? And y'all,
You know we rolling with FD, baby.
hey, Renee, who you rolling with?
Rolling with FD.
I don't think that the fact that they did Be Friends and Jackass is going to have any impact on how they treat sports cards.
So I asked you FD since we're rolling with FD.
Let's roll, man. What's up?
I never would have thought a little piece of cardboard would change my life the way it has in the last 4 years.
And the hobby is alive and well.
Alive and doing very well.
Alive and well.
You got to let people know who you rolling.
I'm rolling with FD.
Who you rolling?
I'm rolling with FD.
So go, Word.
I'm rolling with FD.
You got to let the people know who you're rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
It is Monday. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there? November 28th. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. It was a very good time for me, relaxing. Had a chance to really kick back, think about a lot of things. So it was reflective time. But tonight, I went out to Virginia Beach and went to a Formula One watch party. And I want to have the people that organized that event on tonight to talk about that more and much more. But this is Martha and Tanya from the Apex Takeover. How y'all doing?
Woot woot. Hello.
Hi.
Good to have you here. Good to have you here. What's new and exciting?
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
And it's good to be here.
Yes, Martha. This is Martha's first time. It's good to have Martha here.
Yay.
So, ending 2022. Can you all believe that the year has come to an end?
Man, I'm still in June, okay? I'm still in the summer. That's where I'm at.
It's crazy to me.
I'm not. I'm ready for the holidays. I really am.
Oh, I know I
am.
I looked at the calendar this morning and counting off 4 weeks. I can't wait for those 4 weeks to go by.
December is Thursday.
Yeah, I can't wait. Cannot wait. So I want to ask you, I've always wanted to ask this question, and I've waited to ask this. But let me know, how did Apex Takeover start? How did Martha meet Tanya? How did Tanya meet Martha?
Well, it's a good thing I have my tea because there's some tea drinking involved in this conversation. So I'm gonna be outright blunt with exactly what happened.
Okay.
So I'm a big Formula One fan. COVID happened. Then there was no going to Formula One. Then this amazing app, Clubhouse, came up. My friend invited me. I kind of was like, it's not my thing. For like 2 months, I was like, no, I'm not going on here. Then eventually, I happened to go on one, I think it was a freaking random Wednesday. And I actually met a few women that were talking Formula One. And one of them was wearing this black hat, face down in her picture, red lipstick. And I'm like, ooh, who is that? Who talks cars and looks like she dresses the way I like to dress? And we didn't talk for a couple of weeks because we didn't know each other until someone actually introduced us, which is through Women Watching Sports Live, which is where me and Tanya actually first met. And me and her just clicked from then on. Like, I lived 45 minutes away from work, and every freaking day on my way to work and from work, that's the girl I was talking to.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, coming up with all these things together, talking ideas. I mean, we were still part of that Women Watching Sports Live for a while, but when everything kind of fell apart, things end, people go their separate ways. Me and her decided to stick together because, again, birds of a feather. We've got so much in common, and we kind of walk the same lines. We're both mothers. We're both Black women. And we both love Formula One. So here we are, the Apex Takeover. Hello.
How did you come up with the name Apex Takeover? I'm always interested in names.
Oh my goodness. So we came up with a slew of names. And we had a focus group where we basically gave them the list of names, and they were like, which one? We asked them, which ones did you like better? And I have my creative abilities, and I like to think in the shower. Okay, that's how the whole Stephanie Travers Day came about.
I got to tell you a story after this. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's how the whole Stephanie Travers Day came about, and that's how the Apex Takeover. I came up with the name. I was like, it has to be daring. It has to stand out from everyone else. And I just thought of the checkered flag, and I thought of like the apex, a lot of the drivers, whether it's Formula One or any other racing series, the apex is such a poignant point in racing. Whether you hit it or you don't can determine whether you win or lose a race. So that is how the Apex Takeover came about, the name. I called Martha and I said, Martha, what do you think about the Apex Takeover? Were you driving at the moment, Martha?
Yeah, I know exactly where I was. I think I was like 15 minutes from my house. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. That is it right there. We were like yelling, screaming, and we were so excited about it. And it's funny that when we brought it up to the rest of the team, initially there was like a little bit pushback, like, oh no. And then that's when we ended up putting it into a survey. And then it won because that name does actually hold a lot of water, like she still spoke about, in the racing aspect of things. And then when you take the takeover, there is some taking over that needs to be done just based on, the history. And if you look at us in the sport that we love so much, we definitely stand out. And I think that it's a scenario where we really felt like she said we needed to have that disruptive attention type of name. And I think that name, it literally abides on so many things that we do and so many things that we are wanting to do. So it's fun, but it's still very, when you hear it, even you want to know, okay, what is the Apex Takeover? What does that mean? So I'm really excited for everything that we have lined up coming up in the future. And I know we will be here for quite a while, for quite a long time.
So this is a good segue into, tell me more about what Apex Takeover represents and what do you bring into the Formula One and even beyond space?
Community. So if you go on our website and you look at what we've done, it's pretty much where we've brought in some of the names behind the scenes at Formula One, brought them closer to our community. There's so many people that may have gone to a race, not gone to a race, but you see the cars, but you don't know what it takes to actually put up a Formula One event or even just a season. So to have some of the people come on, like we had Mario Isola from Pirelli come and speak with us. We had Alessandro Molina, who is the F1 Director of Events and the Master of Ceremonies for Formula One. We've had Willie T. Ribbs, who was the first Black man to ever drive a Formula One car. Tanya did the Stephanie Travers day where Stephanie Travers was the first Black woman to ever stand on a podium in Formula One. So there's just so many people that we've been able to bring closer to Formula One fans that otherwise, if we didn't do that little part that we felt like it's small, but it still holds a lot of water because fans want to know more, fans want to get closer to the sport, understand the sport better. And this is what we're planning on doing. And also just bringing community together. I felt alone for years going to Formula One. I literally would look at the crowd and maybe there'll be like 5 people that look like me. And now that we found each other and we know that there's more and more people all over the world that feel that way, we really want to bring everybody together so that we can all enjoy the sport and really ensure that everybody feels like they belong in this space.
So let me know more about how did you first become interested in Formula One? What took you down that road? Because I think it's important for people to kind of know origin stories. You know, when you look at anything, everybody's interested in the origin. How did that start?
That's on you, Martha, because FD's already.
Yeah.
This is on you. We want to know your story.
Okay. So my story is that back when I was a little girl in my teens, for a long time, I grew up with two boys. It was my brother, then me, then my younger brother. So I was in between two boys before my sister was born. And because of that, I was the biggest tomboy you'll ever meet. My mom would buy me dresses. I'll wear it for 2 hours and then it's ripped up because I just loved to do boy stuff. Shorts, climbing trees, bikes, cars, everything. So when my brother started to watch Formula One, I got on it as well, to a point where I now knew all the drivers. I knew the driver stats, and I was like 12, 13 years old. There's a part of me that stopped at some point, but I fell in love with Alonso at some point when he was still winning championships before Lewis Hamilton showed up on the scene. And I would literally take stickers, posters, and everything about Alonso. And then when Lewis Hamilton showed up, that really piqued my interest even more because I was like, wait, there's people that look like me that drive these cars? Hold up a second. So I got even more invested in it from then on. I know most of my family fell off of it, but for me, I still loved it. And then when I moved to Canada, 2007, I was in a really good place to actually go watch a race. I went for a one-day race though, the Sunday. And I got to the Wall of Champions. There's a place called the Wall of Champions in Canada. I stood there for 45 minutes. The engines were V12 engines, so you can hear the sound. You would see the pebbles literally bouncing on the ground when the cars would swoosh by. I had a seat somewhere, but I stood there because I felt a rush. I had goosebumps. I was sweating. I was watery-eyed just because of how euphoric that moment felt, or ethereal that moment felt. And it's been love ever since.
So I want to ask this question. So I go to Virginia Beach. I'm with you all. I go to the watch party. I come back. I'm talking to people about this. Mm-hmm. And people's like, so why are you interested in Formula One? Formula One, and then there are just statements that come out. You know, Formula One's not that big in America. A lot of people don't watch. The races come on at odd times. What would you say? Because I got excited being there, watching, getting into the race, learning more. Watch the race after that. What would you say to people, either in Canada, America, or anywhere in the world? Some people start talking about soccer and why they think some people don't watch soccer. But what would you say to people that may just throw out blanket statements about Formula One and they haven't experienced the sport yet?
Well, with Formula One, just like soccer and cricket, there are so many layers. And I find that I'm in love with all of it. But there's certain layers of Formula One that I'm totally like, this is what I love. I know Tanya knows this about me. I love watching a race live in comparison to watching on my TV. And there's a lot of fans like that. You have that option. And then when it comes to the race itself, there's a lot of people that are into, oh, this driver is such a good driver. But there's people that are into the statistics, the technicals, the aerodynamics, the technical stuff about the cars, the science behind it, all of that stuff. So when we meet as a community, you will find that there are all these brains that are coming in. Someone brings in emotional intelligence of drivers. Someone brings in the aerodynamics about, you know, why it affects the drag reduction of a car. Someone brings in the difference in different tires. We just now bring this plethora of minds that bring together this amazing conversation. And I'm not saying that these sports are alike, but all I know is that the one thing in common about sports is that they bring people together. So when it comes to Formula One, when you talk about Drive to Survive, for someone that doesn't know it, I would say if you watch one episode, just one, and you don't like it, you're probably not going to like it. But there's a very big chance that majority of people that are going to watch a Drive to Survive episode, just one episode, I'm not even talking about the season, will get what Formula One is about and they will fall in love. Granted.
I like that. We got Gabe here saying hi. Hello, Gabe. What's going on? And we got Imani in the house. He says, "Where?"
Hey, Amani.
The Mercedes hat's not here, but the shirt's here.
Lewis.
So we're representing Lewis Hamilton, and we're also representing FD.
Really? Oh, I don't have a shirt.
Very much. Thank you, Martha. We got.
I don't have a shirt.
We have to get you one.
Yeah, we'll get you one.
We'll hook you up. So when we think about Lewis Hamilton, another thing, came back talking to a bunch of people of all different backgrounds, ethnicities. People asking me, who is Lewis Hamilton? Why is he so important? So let me ask you all a question. Who is Lewis Hamilton? I see you telling you with that look. And why is he so important to Formula One?
Am I taking this one again? Okay, so Lewis Hamilton, simply put, is I would say, the first Black man who's actually driven for Formula One. I did mention Willie T. Ribbs. He tested the Formula One car, but Lewis Hamilton actually has been the first Black Formula One driver. And the reason why Lewis Hamilton is so important is because given the current climate that the world has been in, the current climate the world is in right now, and I'm also talking as a mother here who has a son. Tanya has 2 sons. We know that diversity matters. And Lewis Hamilton has done so much. I would say even a lot more than I would expect for one person to do in bringing diversity to the sport. Like I thought about it belonging, right? So if it's a scenario where, if you really think about this sport, back before Lewis Hamilton joined it, I know that it was just a sport. And I think there was a desensitization of diversity and how it needs to be in sports for people to actually belong. But the moment we now have that, and the fact that we can count in one hand how many people of diversity there are as drivers on the Formula One field, we have to start thinking about the future of our children, the future of, all the young kids out there that have dreams, that want to do things. And we think about, just the way history is taught in schools and what it's done to the way I was raised, and then now having to unlearn all of those things. So Lewis Hamilton presents a really positive learning experience for kids now. I mean, if we talk about Miami GP, for example, that had the sick kids and F1 in schools, it was so nice for me and Tanya to go and see those kids being given those chances. I looked at them in awe because I really felt like I wished there were opportunities like that given to me when I was a child. I could have been so many other things, but the truth of the matter is it wasn't up to me. The way we were taught, it wasn't up to me. It was up to someone else, and those someone else's didn't do what someone else's are doing now. What me and Tanya are doing now is trying to make sure that we are really opening eyes to the fact that we need opportunities for every child, regardless of the color of their skin. I'm not saying people are out here blocking, but I'm just saying there was not enough that was being done to really open eyes and say, hey, you could become this, you could become an astronaut, you could work at NASA, you could become an alien on a show if you wanted to. I just looked at an Instagram today of a lady who was talking about wanting to be a Charlie's Angels, and she went for the auditions and she surpassed all of them. But when they went to select them, she wasn't selected, right? But when she met one of them, like during a talk that she did, she cried and said, oh my God, like, you're my hero. She's like, no, I'm an actress in a show. You are the real hero, because I literally know that from what you're saying, this is the real stuff. I just act. And it just gave me an insight into the way we think about the way we were raised and how we can actually take it forward. And I think I've spoken about this with Tanya as well, the whole concept of Sankofa. I don't know if you know what that is, FD.
No, what is that?
So it's a Ghanaian term that talks about our history and how sometimes our history can be our prison. If we say, talking about Black histories, and then, I'm so mad and I'm so angry, and then it stops there. It talks about really pulling yourself back and really going back into your history and the further you go and really check to see what injustices were done and how you can fix them, the further you go, it's like almost like pulling a bow and arrow. You're pulling a bow backwards. The further you go back, when you now let that bow go, it's going to go further. So you checking into your history and really digging deep as where did this start? How can I fix it? When you now go in to fix the future and say, I want to make a good future for my son, I have everything I need to make sure I know what was done wrong, what could be done better, and what I need to do to make sure that the future is clear. I'm not saying that me and Tanya are going to dust everything with the duster and say, okay, like we've erased all the crap and we're going to fix. But I'm saying the small part that we're doing could just be 10%.
Yes.
But it is up to us to do that 10%. And then everybody else putting in their 10% ends up making it wholesome. So Lewis Hamilton is literally, I would say for me, the 90%. I'm just the 10. He's done the 90%. Now it's up to us. It's up to Tanya. It's up to you. It's up to me to bring that 10% together so that the generations to come don't have to go through wondering if they're good enough to be an F1 driver or an engineer at NASA or all of that good stuff.
So when you look at Formula One and you look at Lewis Hamilton's career, we all know every driver's career doesn't last forever. And we talk about diversity and inclusion and more different kind of people being involved in everything that we do. Formula One is one example. What are some things that you think the sport could do to, because this comes up in baseball here in America all the time. You know, the percentage of African Americans that are involved in baseball has dwindled since Jackie Robinson came into the sport. What can Formula One do to bring more diversity to the sport?
To answer that question, I would have to say to create more opportunities and to be intentional in these opportunities to allow people of color to come in. I mean, you can take, for example, content creation, and I'm just speaking that because that's what Martha and I constantly engage in. When everyone looks at the demographics of what content creation is inside of Formula One or any other sport, we could take even trading cards, because this, is a show that talks about trading cards as well. Mm-hmm. There is not an equal representation of people of color versus the white population in Formula One and also in trading cards. And it's also the same, like when you even think about baseball. When I go to see a t-ball game or a baseball game, the majority of the kids, they're not kids of color. So it starts at a very, very young age. What I do like what Formula One is doing is that Lewis Hamilton and the Hamilton Commission have took a deep dive into where is Formula One running at a deficit? Because Formula One's based in the UK, where is the UK running at a deficit? And they took it all the way back to the school, to the kids. And even when we talk about that in the hobby, how can we get more people involved? Everyone always mentions we have to get these kids more involved. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, if we have people making intentional steps, like Martha had said earlier in the interview, Formula One has done that with Formula One in schools when they went to Miami. They intentionally went to Miami Gardens and said, hey, we have to give back to the community in some capacity. What better way to give back to the community than investing in children to learn about Formula One through a STEM program? So that would be my answer for that.
Anything that you want to add up, Martha?
Well, yeah, I mean, me and Tanya think along the same lines most of the time. And, small things, like it doesn't have to be, like we look at the margins. I'm not looking for things to be like 100% perfect. I'm not even looking for perfection. I'm looking for progression. And like Tanya said, it goes with the numbers. So for example, I know I get an email all the time about Formula One fanboys, and you're talking about baseball and the fact that the numbers have dwindled. So fundamentally, and I've said this so many times, every human being, you, me, Tanya, everyone that is going to listen to this podcast, we have to be honest about the fact that fundamentally every human being wants to belong. That's the first thing that a human being seeks, is to belong. So if you're in a sport and Formula One sends you a survey to do a fanboy survey, and you know that this survey can, is asking you questions about how to change things. However, you already know that it was drafted by somebody who cannot necessarily relate to you. They don't understand your background. They don't understand how you think. They don't understand where you're from. Are you really going to fill it out? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So something as small as that, something as small as, okay, say that survey is made by 12 people. Even if there were 2 people on that survey that were of color, I'm not saying black, I'm saying people of color. You know that at least you are going to have all minds thinking about that. You want to have people that are actually able to relate with different backgrounds answering those questions. Then from there, you know that you're going to actually get valid feedback. So I've looked at that survey when it's come to me, and I've kind of looked at the questions, and I was like, okay, I have answered them. And then I've sat there and I've kind of looked and said, okay, is someone going to look at my answers? What are they going to do with them? But then you're now sitting there thinking, maybe they didn't understand what I said. Maybe they didn't like what I said. Maybe I came off as too demanding because I'm a person of color. It's all these things that start to go through my mind. And I'm like, those things can literally be erased simply by including more people of color in all these they are little things, FD, but those little things can hold so much more water. And we need them so much. People just don't understand how much we need those. Like, man, I'm just baffled. Maybe it's just because I'm thinking I want progression, but maybe that sounds like something that's like light years from now.
We keep saying it too. Like it's always on the forefront of everything that we do. We do. And we even can expand that into your personal profession.
Yeah.
Me as a dental hygienist,
mm-hmm.
I'm a unicorn. Okay. When you walk in a dental office, you do not see a lot of people that look like me, that do my profession. So when I am educating my community, I get so much more, you're developing like a trust with them. And you're like, look, hey, I believe, like, look, I have a son. He looks like you. It's like I have a mom too, and brothers and sisters, and I want you to be healthy. And I think that when people can actually see that the community is starting to be a reflection of what the world is, I think that's the part that all sports has to tap into. And you can look at it from whether it's women and men being together, or just a diverse background of people coming together to form a community. I just want to be clear on this platform that Martha and I, we don't do this for ourselves. There's no, the thing that's a fiber of my being, of even being a part of the Apex Takeover, is to form a community of diversity and where everyone, like she says, belongs.
It's very important because I think back in life, beyond any sport or anything, you want to. When I was a young kid, I I gravitated to things that I saw people that looked like me doing. All right, which had nothing to do with the hobby. Had nothing to do with collecting cars. My father, who was a sports enthusiast, played sports, was the person who introduced me to the hobby. I tell people all the time that if I didn't have him in my life, I don't know, I would never met you two. I don't know what I would be doing. I don't know what I would be talking about. I don't know what I'd be passionate about. He planted that seed. Him and mom watered that seed. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about seeds getting planted. We're talking about seeds getting watered. And we're talking about, are you seeing people that do different things? I remember I was telling a story to someone the other day. I went to school and got out and got a job that at one point I didn't even know existed. And I worked in sales, and I had a college counselor tell me, AFD, when I was 18 years old, you should work in sales. The only sales job, now you're talking about perspective. Amani's here. Give him a clap. The perspective, right? The only perspective I knew of sales was, I'm a kid, I'm young, this probably dates me. we used to have encyclopedia salesmen come to the house, and they would sit down and pull out samples and go do different things. So when she said this when I was 18, that was my only example. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I felt like, why are you telling me that? Like, I aspire to go to the moon. Why are you telling me that I can't go that far? Later, I go back to school for homecoming. I see her at the homecoming parade, and I tell her that I've now worked in sales for 8 years. I've done this and that. She starts crying. And she tells me, FD, I told you this a long time ago. Your personality and how you talk to people and what you do, like that's what you should have done. But she had a perception of something that I knew nothing about. And I think a lot of people of color, the more experiences we get, the more people we can talk to that are doing very different things. I never knew that people of color were really interested in Formula One until I bumped into Martha and Tanya. Right?
Well, that's what we're doing it for, FD. We're doing it for the little girls out there in Africa and the little girls out here in the United States that look like us. And they're talking about Formula One. Yes, 10-year-old girls out here, this is who we're doing it for. Okay. And yes, we are rolling.
And you two planted a seed with me. I can't tell you how many people I've talked about this since I got back to California, about the power of Formula One and what's going on. I sat down with Imani, and he broke down a lot of stuff to me during the race. And the stuff that is like I remember now. So each race, it kind of builds more of an education on what's going on. And then just beyond that, it's a whole nother environment of sports that I've known nothing about. And I've challenged myself personally to understand more about what's going on here in the world of sports, because this is beyond baseball, football, basketball, some of this other stuff that we know. It's much beyond that when we talk about globally.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that I think there is something out there for everybody, but within all of those little cells, like it's about the fact that sport actually does change lives. Sport saves people, right? Like, and then at the same time too, I think now, again, talking about the current climate that we're at, we know that it is our responsibility to actually bring things to where they should be, or at least start, because the feeling of not belonging to things, the feeling of not just being able to. So, for example, I know for a fact that there's people that don't go to races, not because they can't afford to, but because they just I've got the fear of, I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know if I'll be accepted. I don't know if I'll get there and someone is going to look at me weird. And it's actually, it sounds like a small thing, but I think that's a really big deal, because even if we're looking at Formula One as a sport that talks about money, right? If we're talking about money, if you're not going to do it for the pure simplicity of community and bringing people together, and you want to do it for the money, I still feel like they're missing out on a lot of it because of the population of people that still feel not welcome or included. There's lots of people of color that are rolling. A lot of people are rolling. And if you don't embrace everyone, you have a large percentage that you're missing out there. So if you want to rack it in, you got to embrace every freaking body and let it be what it is and see. But I guarantee you there's a lot of money being left on the table from people that are not able to go just because, right? I'm one out. I've gone to races by myself. I'm just that one out crazy fan. But think about everybody else that needs their crew going with them, and their crew doesn't feel welcome. Oh, it's too many people that don't look like me and all that kind of stuff. We need to band together and embrace everybody. So let's do it.
Now, there's a race coming up next November in Las Vegas. What do you both think of that race as far as on American soil and the importance of that race?
I'll let Tanya take that one first.
So I do think that it is good because you're gaining greater exposure to the U.S. fan base, and that was the intention of Formula One Liberty Media. However, the affordability of that race is a major problem. Okay, I mean, you cannot dance around that at all. You cannot. Just grandstand tickets that I've seen have been almost $2,800, $3,000, and on up. Okay, there's no there's nothing cheaper that
those
I've seen.
numbers are going to inflate. Yeah,
which I do understand the whole aspect of Formula One has always been an expensive sport. It had always been a part of, there's elite people, a lot of celebrities, and people that can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to races. But when you start putting TV shows like Drive to Survive, do you want to keep those people home or do you want to put their butts in seats? Formula One, that's the question. Mm-hmm. And they have to come up with some sort of happy median in order to do both. You don't want to have people, that are watching this show on Netflix and then they're like, okay, yeah, I'm so hyped up. I want to go to a race. And then they literally in the comments I saw yesterday at the, the F1 Las Vegas Instagram page, they were showing a convention center, big F1 convention center. Looks really, really cool. That is supposed to be a permanent fixture there in Las Vegas. And there were people in the comments, some of them like, oh, hey, this is cool. There were some people like, okay, I've already sold my kidney. I've already sold other types of organs to try to go. And then there's also people saying, you know what? I went to Abu Dhabi and it was cheaper. Come on, Formula One. That's a little bit ridiculous that people in the United States really want to go to races, but we have to go outside the country to be able to go to a race that is quote unquote more affordable. Mm. So I understand that Las Vegas is going to definitely be a moneymaker for them. Mm-hmm. But I really think that at some point they are going to have to regroup, and they're going to have to figure that out because how are you going to want to be more inclusive in a sport that people literally are not going to be able to pay their bills for months in order to go? Makes no sense.
Yeah. So just to add to that, I actually wrote an article. It's on the Apex Takeover. It's called, what is it called, Tanya? The Blessing and the Curse That is Drive to Survive.
Oh, yes.
Because for me, being a vet fan, and I mean, I've been watching Formula One for years and I've been going to races since 2007. I've kind of gotten to a place where when I became a Canadian citizen, they gave the passport to the wrong freaking person. I was like, you will not stop me. I am going to be traveling. I'm going to be going to every Formula One race there is. Then my bank account said, no, Martha, we're not going to do that. We're going to go to 4 races maybe, max, right? And I started to do that. And then Drive to Survive came along. I was like, oh my God, look at all these Formula One fans. This is phenomenal. Then we went to go buy tickets for Miami GP. And I was like, oh, hold up. Wait a minute, run that back. Because tickets are astronomical. So Tanya, I know for a fact, is like, yeah, Vegas. I'm still like, nah, let me keep my coins, So you might see me there, you might not. It all depends if I can sell a kidney. But that's just the way it's sitting now. Like, you want to bring North America into Formula One more, but then the races in North America are astronomically expensive. So where is the medium there? And I know that it's not necessarily up to Formula One. It's like Liberty Media, but I still think Formula One is the governing body that can put a cap as to what promoters in each city are able to charge for Formula One tickets. They need to do that because if they don't do that, these newfound fans that they've gotten from Drive to Survive are going to drop like potatoes because majority of them want to go to a race like Tanya said, and they can afford to. So someone needs to sit down and really look at this and figure out how to, where did he go?
Well, look, we're the Apex Takeover. So this is what we're doing. We're literally taking over.
Yes, we took
What's
over.
the play with FD? So that's what we're doing.
Hi, everyone.
I know.
Apex Takeover here.
The Takeover podcast.
Oh my God. I'm like, listen, look, this is what we do. We take it over. Look, if you were coming back in 5 seconds, we were legit gonna start calling people and have people like show up to the show.
Oh, I've been experiencing some internet issues lately. But if I drop, y'all run with it. Imani says here the F1 is looking at Vegas as their Super Bowl.
I mean, I understand that. I do. But you also like $1 million like for lodging and a ticket? Like $1 million, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, the lodging is gonna be bananas.
Yeah, it's gonna be bananas. And I do understand that because it is on the strip, the hotels did have a lot of like first dibs on making the packages or whatnot. But they have to do something about that price. Like it's not affordable.
Because of the area, there may be an equation that people are looking at. My foot traffic may be altered by this race, so let me be compensated for that. Not making any excuses for it, but that might be some equation that people are looking at.
But if we're talking about people of color and institutionalization of resources, you're holding back access because we're saying, hey, we want to become part of this. We want to build bridges. We want to come and sit with you on the grass. And if we really go back and talk about affordability, who's going to afford to go to this? And then who's not going to afford to go to this? It's going to it's black and white. There's no gray, right? And then now Apex Takeover has been working hard to try to bring community together. I feel like Vegas on its own is literally bringing it all out because none of our people can afford to go. Let me correct myself and not say none of our people can afford to. I'm going to say the majority of people of color, if we really look at the reason why we've been missing in this sport, is because majority can't afford to go to these races. And now it's just going to make it worse, right? And it's in America. You wanted the Americans to love Formula One, Canada, North America. We're all in. We're here. We love the sport. Then you give us Vegas, and this is what you do?
Understood. So let me ask you all a question. You just had your first watch party. I think that's an exciting event for the community in its own right. Kind of walk everyone through how you organize that and what made you want to do it to begin with.
Oh, goodness. So for the watch party, what we were trying to do, we were able to grow a pretty good community on social audio apps. We wanted to see and start the process of being able to do that in person. When we first formed like the Apex Takeover, we had long conversations about, even when we go to races, that we would have some sort of get together for people in the community that we've cultivated on the social audio app to be able to meet up. I felt, and it was my push, it was me like pushing, and the opportunity presented itself to be able to have an area of a sports bar, which when you really look at that whole aspect of having a Formula One watch party in America, it's very difficult, especially during football season. But Scotty Quicks did welcome us. They said, hey, you can do it here. We will be willing to shut down a part of our bar in order to do it. So we jumped on the opportunity. Mm-hmm. But we also always want to bring an aspect of giving back to the community too. So that's how the fundraiser was another added aspect of it. And since the race fell on Veterans Day weekend, Martha and I only thought that it made sense to donate the funds that we gained from the fundraiser to a Veterans Foundation. And that's what we did. Scotty Quicks was very gracious enough to match what we raised, and they also have donated as well. And I feel like even though we try to have a community on a social audio app, it's also very, very important for us to do things like this face to face to grow the community, also in like the United States and in North America and Canada as well. Mm-hmm. So it was very, I felt like it was very tedious because it was the very first one that we've done. We would ultimately like to grow that aspect of the Apex Takeover podcast. We would like to be able to go to different races, be able to meet up with people of our community, grow our community, bring people in, like do all that stuff. So it was our very first one. I feel like it was very successful, and I do want to thank everyone who showed up, who traveled, who donated, who gave us a shout out on Instagram, and who also reposted our fundraiser to their social medias and got their friends and family to donate as well. But I hope that there will be others that take our lead and do the same thing, and we just hope to grow it even more.
I want to say the same thing that Imani is saying here. What a great event. Can't wait till the next one. I thought this was a wonderful event. It was inspiring to me. That's what got me off the couch and said, I got to at least be there in person to experience this. People not just talking about something, but doing something and bringing people together. And I met people from New Orleans, Atlanta, and all different kind of places. I had a chance to meet Imani from Alabama. It's just a great event. So I applaud you both for having something like that. And I don't know everything about sports. It taught me a lot.
Well, can I teach you something else?
Mm-hmm.
There is a world full of people waiting to become your friends. You just got to go find them. You just got to get on the plane and go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was telling Tanya, I'm telling people this. That was my first coast-to-coast trip. So, and I have had trips in the past to go do stuff. I'm like, yeah, you get close to the trip and you start talking yourself out of making that trip. And this was one that as I got closer, I got more energy to want to be there. So, but, I appreciate you all for being the trailblazers on something like that, because I can only imagine it's not easy to do. But it's just good to see the organization and the time that was spent. And like Tanya talked about, you both, the donations that were made to a great cause for our veterans around Veterans Day. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention was the fact that, me and Tanya did talk about having live meets at any events that we go to. So, which is why we're also on here. Hopefully Formula One sees this. We need you to take these prices down, because if you don't take these prices down, me and Tanya can go to as many races as possible and meet newbies that want to know and feel comfortable at a race. Because on a Friday, for example, if me and Tanya are going to a race, we put it on social media. Hey, me and Tanya are going to Monaco. Come meet us. We'll show you the ins and outs of, we may not have been to Monaco, but we kind of have been to a couple of races. So we can kind of show you, okay, where to go, what to do, and all of that kind of stuff. But if we're not going to these races because your prices are exorbitant, we can't do that for you. We're offering you our services for free, Formula One, for free. You don't even have to pay us. We pay our own tickets. You just have to make them affordable.
Yes, ma'am. I got a message from my son here. Junior wants to say hi to Tanya and Martha.
Hi, hello, Junior.
What's up, Junior?
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Laughing right now. And April's on here too. April wants to say what's up.
Hey, April.
Hello, April.
Yeah,
hopefully you can come to one of our watch parties. He can bring the family. That'd be great.
Cool. That would be real cool. Gotta keep Junior in one seat though, but that'd be real cool. Oh man. So tell me about what else is Martha and Tanya doing? What other endeavors are going on?
Well, Tanya's got this really cool gig that it's crazy because she applied for this stuff, but I've been praying for it. And then Tanya got it because I live in Canada. Mm-hmm. So I've said, and I also want to say this, and I'm saying this in the most unattacking way possible. I felt from this year that people like me and Tanya need support from people like me and Tanya. We need support from Black people. We need support from our people, because we've spoken to several people in this world this year alone, and they understood us, but they didn't understand us. They got us, but they didn't get us. So this endeavor that Tanya did, and she's now working with Snapchat, is exactly the support that we needed to be able to create the content that we need to create, to be able to actually make the impact that we need to make. So I'm excited for that, even though I'm just going to be the camera woman most of the time. But that's my 10%. That is something that I am right beside her, front and center, and wanting to really get our, cause to go even further, because we have the opportunity, backed up by people that actually understand what is needed, and that's why it's been done, right? So we are going to make some changes. We are going to grow. We are going to make things better in 2023. And that is a promise. That is not a maybe or I think. That is a guarantee, because we have the support. We have you. We have Imani. We have everybody that came to the watch party, knowing that we have all these hearts with us. Also just helps us stay digging, because it does get tough. I've had times where I've been like, and she's trying to talk to me and I'm just like, I've had enough. It does get tough, FD. But with support, we're going to make it. We are definitely going to make it. And I'm excited for that.
Very true.
So I think that, thank you, Martha. I think it's very important to have the people behind you supporting you is very important. And I thank my family. I thank Martha. I thank UFD and a whole bunch of other people who have constantly, when we even felt like giving up, when it did look very hard and like it was not even going to happen, some way, shape, or form, it was in the stars for us to be successful. So I think that in the future, moving forward, we're just going to continue on growing that success. We're going to keep on trying to expand not trying, but expanding our reach. And I want to say thank you, because there have been people in Formula One who have seen what we're doing, and they do applaud us and they do help us as much as they can and offer their time. And for those who have, thank you. And for those who still haven't seen us, we're coming. And those who have seen us but choose not to, they look away just a little bit, we're still coming.
Yeah. and we get it. We get it.
Yeah, sometimes, we get it.
Sometimes you don't know what to do with us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not everybody's type, but that doesn't mean that we're not supposed to be there giving our perspective of what Formula One is and how the community should be in their representation of the community. And that's what we're doing. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Martha, for being co-host, one half of the Apex Takeover. I don't know where I would be without you in that whole aspect. And it's really good just sisters supporting sisters, because even in the community that we are in, FD, it is really, sometimes it is hard for women to support women and sisters to support sisters. And I do. I got Martha. I got just my sister, Erica. I got so many sisters that are like, yo, get this done. And I can call and bounce ideas off of, and that always pick up the phone, text messaging, everything. And the countless sisters that I didn't mention, they know their names and they know who they are. And I do. I love them dearly.
It's very important. Yeah, it's very important to have people that can see your vision and want to help out in any way possible. It's very important. I think, I just think back on sometimes when it gets rough, I think about no one else is trying to do something. So it's going to be rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. But as long as you know you got that net out there, and we're talking about, like right now, we got 2 different countries on this line.
I know. Isn't that really something? I mean, I never would have thought, like, this beautiful woman from Zimbabwe that's like, yes, I will do a podcast with you. Yes, I will sit up here and write countless emails and get a countless doors slammed in my face. I sign up. Like, that's just not even a part of the program, because nowadays everybody wants stuff to be easy. They never want to slow cook anything. We just live in this microwave era where it's like everybody wants things instantly now. It has to happen now. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the slow cooker in the oven now. Okay. I don't know about how much Martha is, but I'm okay with it.
I do like my microwave though. I do like my microwave. Okay. Sometimes I don't like to line up. Sometimes I want to just skedaddle in there, you know. But I've been taught that no, there is no skedaddling. You gotta take the hammer and knock the bricks down. And when you mentioned Zimbabwe, Stephanie Travers, half Zimbabwean. When I saw that coming from a third world country that I come from, I literally was like, this is insane. Like, I always have to remind myself where I come from, like, in terms of, like, because, you know, like, I live here now, but my heritage is Zimbabwean. I spoke to my dad, actually, for about 2 hours this weekend, and I was asking him about the gardening, the weather, and everything. But that is something that, for me, is so phenomenal, because I have to really tell you guys that I'm a child from a third world country, and I'm on a podcast right now speaking to the Americans. Okay, I don't know why I brought the Italian accent in there.
I love it.
But it's a big deal. It is a big deal because the fabric of who I am is from this third world country, but I have made it here. And if I cannot bring up anyone I can bring up, that's sad. You know what I mean? That will be to make it this far, to make it here, and this is where it ends, is unacceptable for me. Absolutely unacceptable. So if I'm gonna put my third world African country on the map, this is how I'm gonna do it. Right here.
I love it.
Hey, I love it too.
So I want to say it's great to have Erica here watching. Thank you, Erica, for being here.
Hi, Erica.
I think Erica knows she's a huge part of a lot of stuff that goes on. And
she's like low key a member of the Apex Takeover. She don't even know it, but she just like low key is. She like kind of circulates through the background. But she's
just so you know, Erica, G and I were working on some stuff for the holidays, and we went back to. I want to give you a shout out. We went back to look at what the podcast we did for the Super Bowl beginning of the year. You know, very few subscribers. Erica was on for over 2 hours from start to finish. She's low key rolling. I mean, she's an honorary roller. You know, everything we've ever done from start, she has always been a participant. Been on live, many lives in the comments. I appreciate you. She was a person that really got. She was about 1,000 subscribers.
Oh my goodness! Congrats, Erica.
Erica was. So I really appreciate you.
And I just want to say, as a content creator for the hobby, her daughter, Natiri, she was featured in a lot of my footage for the National. And Erica's a very extraordinary person, but that daughter, Natiri, Princess Natiri, she's going to be something. I'm just saying it now.
Yeah, she represents the future of the hobby. Yeah, that is good stuff. What other words of wisdom do you want to leave us with before you I don't want to keep you too long before you go?
I mean, come on, FD. You just said you didn't want to keep us too long. You gonna say something like that?
And I've been saying words of wisdom for the whole hour. I've been saying it.
That tells me whenever I ask that question, people usually hit me with something that comes to their mind.
I've hit you with the world is full of people waiting to become your friends. Go meet them. I've hit you with everybody wants to belong. Help them belong.
Well, I'll tell you this.
What else do you want?
I used to live in Detroit.
She said, what else do you want? I'm done.
And I never went to Canada. And you're the first person that's got me excited about coming to Toronto.
Oh.
Really? Okay. Not Drake? Not Drake?
I wouldn't go across the street for Drake.
Why I get the look? I say Drake, I get the faces. Okay, never mind. No Drake.
No Drake.
It's not that type of party, Tanya. No.
I gotta have you more often. Go ahead.
So for me, honestly, the thing that I've learned just really grinding this diversity, equity, and inclusion
and belonging.
Is that sometimes it's not necessarily that everybody just doesn't want to include people. Sometimes they just don't know. Sometimes they just don't know the impact that they have on not necessarily embracing everybody. Sometimes they don't know how to embrace everybody. So I want to say to other content creators of color is that I think sometimes coming from a place where we go in with our minds open is probably the best way to go, because sometimes we close that energy based on, oh my God, I'm Black, they're this and they're that. There's the othering there as well. So that thing that we're trying to fight is bringing everybody together. Sometimes we use it and it actually splits everybody apart. And I think we just need to look at ourselves in the mirror sometimes. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, we need to not be who we are. We need to be who we are. But I'm just saying, from learning everything I've learned this year, not everybody knows that they are doing what they're doing. And it's a matter of, are they open to listening to you telling them, hey, this is how it looks. This is the aesthetics of what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling. Can we fix this? So can we meet halfway somewhere? It's something that I just have had to learn. And I think I am finding more progress with that in comparison to saying, hey, I'm Black, this happened to me, give me shit. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I just feel like I needed to share that part.
Oh, no, thank you for saying that. It is true. There's a lot of people who may not know something they said, something they did, facial expression or whatever. I'm a firm believer, I'll add this, that in America, just like probably any other place in the world, you have different people with different customs, different ways they go about doing things, even in the same state, across the country, in the same, there could be a community right next across, there's a major street that divides two different communities. People can do things totally different ways. We just celebrated Thanksgiving. Many people cooked many different things that are traditional to them during Thanksgiving. Other people did not. I had a conversation with a young lady today who's Caucasian, and she has a young lady that works with her who's biracial. And that young lady who's birachal's mother made some collard greens, brought them into work, shared them with her. She loved them. Doesn't know how to cook them herself. Couldn't even go down that road if she wanted to. But she embraced something that was different on a traditional holiday in America. I think that's what we're all talking about.
Absolutely.
What we are trying to create. That's what we have been creating. So come on, people. We're waiting.
Bridges. Let's build bridges.
We are here. We are ready to grow this community. So it looks like.
Is that enough advice? Is that enough words of wisdom for you?
I see something came out of that.
Don't forget to floss.
There you go.
I mean, that's pretty good word of wisdom. You know, it prevents heart disease, Alzheimer's, all the bacteria that backs up. Okay, I'm sorry.
All these things are important. I told you whenever I ask this question, something new, something interesting comes.
I mean, how many times do you just don't forget to floss? Once a day, that's it. And you might not end up with heart disease. Go to the dentist twice a day. I think those are my words of wisdom.
Twice a day to the dentist?
Oh, twice a year. Did I say twice a day? Oh, that's how often I go. Because I work there.
I was about to check my wallet.
A year. Go to the dentist twice a year at least. Okay. Floss. Tell somebody you love them. I hear that too sometimes.
And mine is like, Toronto, we're rolling.
Okay, we're rolling to Toronto.
We're all excited about Toronto.
So I don't know. Maybe that'll be where we'll have the next watch party. I don't know. I'm just throwing it into the universe.
Toronto.
Just don't come in the winter, please. In the winter, this door is closed. My quiet abode. Like, I don't like the snow. I don't like the cold. I want to go south right now. I'm a summer kid. I'm an African child that is literally craving heat and sun. So if you come here and you say, oh, let's go out in the city, you're not going out in the city. We'll sit on my couch and we'll watch TV and eat popcorn, okay? But if you want to come to Toronto, come in the summer. We'll hang out. We'll go pedal boarding, whatever you want to do. Everything, we'll do it.
Watch Formula One.
Hold on. What was the last thing you named? We'll go where?
Pedal boarding.
Oh, okay. Pedal boarding. Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, you could paddleboard right on the like by the city line. You can see Toronto behind you.
I've never been paddleboarding, but I know
California. You never
I just
paddleboarded?
I'm still a Chicago person.
Okay, Chi-Town. All
I'm
right.
trying to learn though. trying to do different things and learn.
All right, so write this down. Formula One, paddleboarding, Toronto, no Drake, floss.
Monty say you bring a coat.
I'll bring a coat. I have coats. They don't work. My nose and my lips still freeze.
Because Toronto gets pretty cold. Like,
and my eyes start
how much
crying.
snow do you all get? How much snow do you get?
We get too much. We get way too much. It's way too much. Like sometimes it's like freaking up my knees. Like
because I grew up in Chicago. I lived in Detroit. I lived in Minneapolis for a summer. A lot of snow. I'll imagine Toronto was getting pummeled.
It's cold. 2 years ago, actually, because of COVID, I actually went out snowmobiling. I loved it, but am I going to do it again? No. I am not for the snow.
I'm hearing this, Martha.
I'm not made for this, FD. Imani, I'm not made for this. I'm not.
Well, Imani's in Alabama. I don't think he's getting much snow.
No, he looks like he wants to come for the snow. He wants to be rolling in the snow. He looks like he wants to come and make snow angels.
Well, people that don't live in snow always desire to be.
I guess that's probably why. Until you come here.
Y'all can always come back to Virginia Beach. You know, our weather's bipolar. Y'all experienced it yourself.
Oh, it's beautiful there. I can't wait.
1 point is 75. Another day is 45.
Yeah.
Then it's pouring rain.
Yeah. Monsoons. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how do people stay in contact with Apex Takeover? Where can they find you all if they want to get involved in an array of races going on? Break it down to them.
www.apextakeoverpodcast.com, Apex Takeover Instagram, Apex Takeover TikTok, Tanya's Instagram.
Apex Takeover on Twitch. Don't kill me, Martha.
You did it?
You on Twitch?
We are on a podcast with FD, and this is when I find out that we're now on Twitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Twitch now. Okay.
Wow. Okay, we'll talk.
I'm in trouble. I know.
What else? Yeah. So yeah, Apex Takeover Instagram, literally, and you can find both of us on there.
Okay.
And Shy Beautiful on Instagram, Shy Beautiful 1 on Snapchat. Please follow me. And then also Martha.
One Marita, O-N-E. There's only one me. Only one me. And you can be my friend if you want. If you're nice.
And look, listen, she's a personal trainer too, y'all.
And you're not Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, I turned on the series, right, on HBO. And I only got through maybe 10 minutes of that. Then I had to just turn it off and get my mind right. So it's intense.
I work in the gym, and I literally look at people walking through the door every day, and I'm like, this person probably, are they okay, or do they have like a decapitated torso in their drum in their house? I'm so paranoid because of him. So I want to be friends, but I'm also very paranoid. So I do look at people sideways sometimes because I'm just like, I don't know if this nice person,
Martha,
likes to skin
see
people.
FD's face? Do you see his face right now?
I'm just learning more about Martha. I'm learning more. Oh, yeah.
I'm paranoid. I am paranoid.
But you are also embracing social media. You're embracing that.
Yes, I am. Yes. But I literally keep it in a bubble. I'm not just out here going, hey, So when it comes to making friends, you still need to be careful.
I think we all do. Like Imani said, me too. I think my biggest thing when we started the channel was how much do I put on social media? How much of my family is on social media? What all are we doing? I've opened up a little bit more on that. Still difficult sometimes. So I get it.
No, I can understand that too, because even like with my kids, because you don't want to ever lead like too much.
No, it's
And
hard.
definitely, you know, like ladies and gentlemen, stop putting your addresses on social media. Stop putting the cars that you drive on social media, license plate numbers. Don't do that.
Telling people you
Don't
got
do that. Yes. Stop posting every bag, ladies. And
Yeah, so
don't do that.
I just said it in a way that's creepier, but we're literally probably thinking the same things. But I literally said it in a creepier way. So
yeah, you talking about torsos and stuff. I'm talking about like
because that's what he done, and I'm just like, the Lord saves those who save themselves.
Oh my goodness! Now this is a sermon. Okay.
You can't go mess with the wrong people because I said go make friends with everybody. Don't say that I told you that. Make sure you're watching, feel energy.
True.
Check some stuff, you know, be cautious because the world is full of beautiful people, beautiful souls, but there's also some beasties out there. So be careful about those ones.
Are you talking about actual people or the Forex traders now? Because you know you get on them too.
Don't start the Forex traders. Don't get me started on the Forex traders, especially now with the way crypto is. I had one follow me today, actually, too. I literally had one follow me today. Why do I get so many crypto Forex traders following me every freaking time? They look at my Instagram. Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, that's how it kicks off. Yeah.
Like,
hey, how you doing?
Like, stop. No.
Then they steal your wallet.
No. And then they send you a link and all that crap. No, we're not doing that. So FD.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
I'm here. What's up?
So in your rolling with FD and the way that you've been doing it, I blocked the clip that you played in the beginning. So is that all the people that you've had on your podcast?
No, it's not all. It's a good representation of the different people that we've had on, but it's not all.
But you kind of stick them as you go. You stick the little clips.
Yeah. We kind of update the intro a little bit. We add different people in. I kind of wanted to show kind of the different people that we talk to. We've talked to some very analytical people in the hobby space. We've talked to other content creators, just a bunch of different people with different mindsets on different things. So I just kind of wanted to show that.
Well, that's really nice because I like to see the reach that you've had, like the lives that you've touched. So it was nice to watch that. I was smiling. I'm not sure if you could see me. I know you had kind of thrown us off the podcast, but I was smiling so hard because that was really nice to see that. So is that openness, right?
That's what, man?
It's being open, open, talking to everybody. You're saying some of, you were saying some of them were.
I try to tailor my questions to the individual. And I try to kind of think like the person I'm talking to. Like, you know, we've had some very analytical questions on here that run algorithms and get deep into projecting the future of the hobby and what's happening in 12, 18 months, stuff like that, to someone that maybe just started collecting. And then I like to pull people too. This is a good question, Martha. I like to pull people for, like, Amani's coming on soon. I like to pull people from the hobby that I know travel the country. They may not have exposure from other people, but I think they have insight that they can give and bring them on and ask questions. Mike, Mr. Get In and Flip It, is on probably once a month. He travels a lot to go to different shows. So we have a bunch of different people on. And so I want to go back to what Tanya was talking about earlier. She was talking about coming up with the name Apex Takeover. So I don't know if I ever said this to you before. Rolling with FD, I came up with What's the Play and What's the Flavor, which is my Sunday podcast, all in the shower. Wow. There were things that I was thinking about and I just couldn't put it together. Like Rolling with FD, I wanted the name to be inclusive of where we're going, not me. Not just, this ain't just about me. So a lot of times when I have guests on, I'm not doing a lot of talking. I'm listening. I'm asking questions that are pertinent to them. And to me, that's what this is all about. Even when I go to shows, I want to showcase women, people of color, and children. I try to spend more time talking to people that may not be talked to. And here in California, we have a very diverse population of people that collect sports cars. And when I look around the show, I see a lot of different looking people. So why don't we talk to them? You know, why don't we showcase them? If somebody has never been on the live, I welcome them on. Sit down and talk about what they do, how they think, how they approach the hobby, kind of what they want out of it. What was their origination story? To me, those things are always important. Who brought you to this, or how did you find this, or and then how did you get excited about it? Like those are things that I think everybody has their own original story, and it's good to hear those stories because then it kind of dictates how you kind of think. Like I came into a hobby at a time it just wasn't about the deal. So I was sitting at my house watching YouTube content in the hobby where it was just about the deal. People are just looking at cars. People are just talking about, yeah, they sold this car for $3,000, $4,000. So when I was a kid, it was about building relationships and talking to people and knowing someone long term and going to the same hobby shop most of your childhood, stuff like that. That I felt like that was lost. I felt like a story of a African American guy from the South Side of Chicago was not being told. Nobody's talking about that. Like, so I decided let's start a channel. Let's start rolling, doing something, going places. So we used to go out here in LA. No one knew us. We used to get stared down a lot. People just look at us, but not really talk to us. And then there are some leaders here. And I don't just say leaders like someone who owns a lot of cars that have a high value. People in LA that just want to know who we are started coming over and talking to us. And we just start building relationships. And because to me, that's what the hobby is all about. If I didn't buy cars for the next 6 months, I always tell people when you go to a show, are you just looking at the gems on the table or the gems that you're walking by in terms of people? So the people aspect is what's important to me. And I really enjoy having lives and podcasts and talking to people and learning more about them.
No, the learning aspect is actually pretty important because I think if you look at, for me, for example, watching Formula One by myself as a woman of color for years and not really knowing that there are other women like me that like the sport, you are stuck in your own mind. You're stuck in your own thoughts. And then when you know that the world has like 8 billion people and you meet other people and you're open to hearing. So when I go into rooms, for example, when we host rooms with Tanya, I'm never in that room saying I know everything and anything there is to know about Formula One. I'm very open to learning, you know, and I'm not saying that there are people that it's wrong or right. It's just people are different, right? So just the amount of information I've managed to absorb and soak up with that openness of being able to listen to people and kind of like, I don't know anything. Let me learn how this person thinks about this or how this person feels about this, emotional intelligence, aerodynamics, Formula One as a whole. It's just I'm now in a place where I feel richer. Before, when it was just me stuck in my own head, I thought I was like, I know the sport. And then you meet other people and they tell you, no, think about it this way. Then you now have your mind, 5 other minds on that one thing. And you're like, wow, this is freaking brilliant. And it made the sport even more wholesome for me. Mm-hmm. There's aspects of it that I didn't know. I got that from our social media platforms, our audio that we do. So I think that we need to always remain open to learning from each other. And there's a long way to go. There's a lot to learn. And that's pretty cool. Kudos to you for the many people that you've spoken to. It's actually inspiration. So
thank you.
We're gonna rack up those names, right, Tanya?
Yep.
You know what's funny? I'm talking to you all right now, but I remember a time that I wanted to reach out to Tanya and do a interview, and I didn't even know if she would understand why I wanted to talk to her. Because there's some people I reach out to that do trading card games or other stuff in sports, and they'll send a note back and ask me why you want to talk to me. But Tanya got it.
Why would
not? We get that a lot though. Me and Tanya do get that a lot, where we try to reach out to people and I'm not sure what they think we want. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, yo.
But we got to remember though. We got to remember when you're trying to trailblaze something, everybody doesn't get that up front.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's just still baffles me because it's like sometimes you don't even realize that maybe someone that wants to talk to you could literally be to your benefit, not necessarily theirs.
True.
So if you're always going to be closed up thinking that this person wants something from me, you're missing out, right? Like I said, I think me and Tanya are sitting here voluntarily saying we're here to build bridges on diversity and inclusion. And there's a lot of people that don't know what that looks like or what that feels like or what it even is. And we're volunteering for free.
You and that free word.
For free. I'm not saying pay me. I'm saying, yo, I want to bring my brothers and sisters and children to this. I almost cussed. I want to bring my brothers and sisters and children to this thing, to this gig. You want me to bring them because if I bring them, you get more money. You get more butts and seats. How will I bring them if you won't actually let me speak to you and tell you how the plan should go to bring my people?
That's true. Very true. And FD, we do sympathize with you a whole lot on trying to get people to come onto your show and reach out to different people. And you're like, oh my gosh, are they going to respond back? And there are plenty of times where we got crickets, like absolutely nothing. And there were a lot of times that we were pleasantly surprised too. So I tend to lean into those moments where it's being pleasantly surprised and just eye-opening. I mean, to me, the gem has to be the Stephanie Travers because we didn't know if she was going to show up or not. And we still prepared questions for her. We still operated as if, oh, yep, she's going to show up. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is great. Stephanie Travers Day, she's going to be there. And I'm looking like, oh my gosh, I don't know if she's showing up. But she did. And
that's the joy, right? That's the real joy.
That was the joy. But I think also that was a joy for her too, because she actually saw a community, beaming back at her. Like, we just want to big up you and let you know how proud we are that you are the fluid trackside engineer of a amazing team, the Mercedes team, which now she's gone on to work for Extreme EX44. She is the sporting director there now. So she has taken a giant step in her career and she's being so successful. So, but those are the stories that Martha and I want to continue to tell. And we are going to continue to tell them. So, but we definitely want to thank you and everyone else in the community for the support. You know me, I always love the hobby. I'm not, I may be going to Formula One over here, but I'm always have at least one toe in the hobby.
Yes. And we're also going to get you, Tanya, to start grading some of these cards.
Oh my goodness. Okay. But I am planning to go to Culture Collision because I've been hearing so much about that show. And I really do want to go see what Culture Collision is going to be all about. So that's going to be another venture for the Apex Takeover podcast.
Oh, that's going to be exciting. That's going to be very exciting. Now, so you all saw the intro.
Yeah. Martha.
We're rolling with FD.
What? Oh, no, come on.
Like
all right, no, FD FD just log off and then she'll do it. No, I'm kidding.
So I'm gonna ask you all a question, then you give a response. Okay.
You better not ask me a question I already know.
So I'm here with Martha and Tanya from Apex Takeover. Who you rolling with?
We're rolling with FD.
Thank you very much.
That was squeaky. Do it again. I don't like it. We might have to do 5 takes. We might have to do 5 takes on this.
This is the first time I've ever done a second take.
Well, look, it has to be Martha, right?
It has to be Martha. So I'm here with Martha and Tanya from the Apex Takeover. You gotta let me know who you're rolling with.
We're rolling with FD. You heard it first.
Rolling
Thank you
with the homie.
Thank you very much. I always appreciate having you all here.
You didn't ask for a dance.
Do you want to dance?
Martha, with the homie. Rolling with the homie.
Okay.
All right, bye. Bye. I'm out. I'm back.
Yeah, we gotta have you all again probably at the beginning of the year. talk to you one more time, see what's going on. Imani enjoyed the show, bro. I appreciate you, man. Now we gotta have Tanya Martha back. That's gonna be fun.
Yes, let us know because you know me, I'm gonna be all typing all in the comments.
So
I want to hear about all his traveling. I see all his stories.
Too.
He's always somewhere.
Yeah,
he's always somewhere.
He definitely
and he creates the dopest content. Like if everyone, like if you have not seen Amani's content, like it is straight fire.
It is.
And my mom thinks he's the most sweetest guy in the world because he gave her a Daniel Ricciardo trading card.
No, yeah, he did give a card. Yeah, he gave me a card.
He gave me a card.
He gave me a Max and a Hamilton card. Yeah.
Well, I'm just sitting here like, wow, he's giving out cards. Okay, Imani.
Imani, you gotta get Martha a card now.
Everybody
in Toronto.
Now you gotta hook up in Toronto.
Everybody got a card.
Bernie, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. I saw your comment earlier. But you
what
said,
was his comment earlier?
This what's up, FD. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here. I try to get everybody in. If you have taken the time to type in a comment, I want to have you represented. But Martha and Tanya, I appreciate you all. Before we get out of here, I want you all to hold on. I'm going to end the show, but stay in the green room.
But Imani, I don't have a card.
What? Really, Martha?
Martha, I think Imani going to hook you up.
Wait, I think I sent her a card, FD.
I know you sent me a card, but Imani gave you an FD card. Okay. I didn't get a card.
Okay, Martha.
Imani, you don't know.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year. All right, hold on one second.